Okay, let's dive right into this. Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're exploring a totally universal rite of passage. We're taking a really close look at that massive, unspoken transition from the familiar halls of high school into the vastly unknown territory of university and adulthood. You know the one. It's a journey filled with silent battles, immense pressure, and profound psychological growth. And we're going to walk through every single stage of it right now.
So, have you ever felt the weight of becoming? That heavy, quiet pressure of stepping out of who you were and trying to figure out who you're actually expected to be? What we're unpacking today absolutely is not just one author's personal diary. It is a shared, collective reality. In fact, it's the exact story of every single student who has ever had to navigate that incredibly fragile bridge between youth and adult life. I really want you to take a second and let this sink in. You are not behind. You are becoming. This core thesis from Gospel Pwahomdi Filibus totally anchors our journey today. The path ahead of you, or maybe the journey you've already survived, is so much more than just a series of academic tests. It's fundamentally about psychological and emotional growth. You aren't just accumulating grades here, you are building an identity.
Let's map out the emotional terrain we're about to cross. This journey basically happens in 4 distinct acts: high school, JAMB exams, the waiting room, and finally, campus life.
Stage 1, the last school bell, a quiet shift into uncertainty.
Man, it hits you so fast. One moment you're coasting on the perfectly scheduled routine of secondary school, and the next, it's just this visceral reality of students tearing their uniforms, frantically writing signatures on each other's backs like time is some expiring contract. People are cheering that they've made it, but honestly, it's an illusion. This wasn't the end of learning. It was the exact moment an immense unspoken pressure was quietly placed onto the shoulders of every single student. It's just a jarring, immediate shift from being a student whose every single hour is guided right into a sudden, vast void of individual responsibility.
Which brings us to Stage 2, Jam in Silent Fear, where hope meets expectations.
Suddenly, this exam completely transforms from a distant thing the seniors used to talk about into a heavy, suffocating judgment season. It's no longer just a test of your subjects, it's a test of your direction, your identity, and whether you're going to open the door to your future or be left behind. It's all those glowing phone screens and dark, crowded cyber cafes. It's pretending you aren't terrified while carrying the unspoken expectations of your family, who, by the way, suddenly all have an opinion on whether you should be a doctor or a lawyer. It's the silent anxiety of choosing a lifelong course just to feel safe, while being totally terrified that one wrong click is going to derail your entire life. Look, every student is carrying this exact same invisible backpack of panic.
But, inside that absolute crucible of pressure, something incredible happens. When asked if they're scared, the honest answer is usually just yes, but I'm more scared of not trying. True strength in this phase isn't having zero fear. That's a total myth. True strength is that raw, quiet courage to keep studying, keep clicking submit, and keep moving forward despite being absolutely terrified of the outcome.
Stage 3, the waiting season, the silence that tests your nine.
If the exam was the storm, well, this is the agonizingly vast open silence that follows. It doesn't rush you, it doesn't ask you questions. It literally just stretches time so far that you begin to question every single decision you've ever made. No admission is given yet. Those 5 words become a massive emotional exhaustion loop. You wake up, grab your phone in the dark, refresh the portal, and nothing changes. You just have to sit there and watch life continue for everyone else while you're left on pause, questioning your entire self-worth in the quiet of your room.
Now, what's really interesting is how easy it is to completely misread this experience. We almost always feel like waiting is just rejection, empty time, and delay. But look a little deeper and you realize what waiting actually is. It's preparation. It is growth. The waiting room isn't some prison you're locked in. It's a workshop where your character is being quietly built in the background.
I want this quote to change how you view your own past delays. Waiting is not empty time. It is unseen preparation. Success isn't just about that loud, exciting moment you finally achieve your goal. It's actually about who you are forced to become while you're sitting in the silence waiting for it. The patience, the resilience, the discipline you build when nobody is watching, that for sure is the actual prize.
Stage 4, when the letter comes, the false finish line.
Usually, when you've completely stopped desperately expecting it, it happens. The status changes to congratulations. The letter finally arrives. It's this incredible, completely surreal morning. The whole house erupts in joy. You finally crossed the finish line, right? Well, actually, scratch that. No, you haven't. The initial shock and disbelief very quickly give way to something much heavier.
deep responsibility. Gaining entry is not a victory lap. It is a rapid transition from dreaming into doing. Suddenly, you have to prove you're actually worthy of the very thing you spent months praying for. It's the start of a much, much more demanding chapter for every single student.
Stage 5. The weight of university. Reality and responsibility.
At first, yeah, everything is exciting and new. But slowly, the university just stops being patient with you. The relentless, creeping routine of overlapping deadlines, confusing lectures, and endless reading really sets in. You realize you're no longer just managing courses, you are managing your time against absolutely impossible expectations. You fall into that exhausting illusion of always almost beginning your tasks. You silently compare yourself to the student sitting right next to you who just seems to understand everything instantly. But remember our core theme here. Everyone looks like they're coping on the outside, but every single student is secretly adjusting to the exact same heavy backpack of pressure. You aren't failing, you're adapting.
This quote is an absolute lifeline. If you've ever felt like an imposter on campus, university does not distribute difficulty equally in appearance, but it distributes pressure to everyone. The struggle is absolutely universal. Recognizing this shared reality, that the person confidently answering questions is also carrying immense unseen weight, is the very first real step toward true growth and taking control of your own journey.
This entire profound journey we've been decoding today comes directly from the book, The Weight of Becoming, by Pwahomdi Filibus. And this is totally vital to understand. He did not write this to tell his own personal story. He wrote this as a mirror. This is every student's story. It exists to give a voice to the collective, silent struggles we all endure but rarely ever talk about.
And that leads us to our final stage, Stage 6, the art of becoming.
This is the exact moment where survival quietly turns into transformation. You stop expecting things to be easy. You stop waiting for perfect conditions. You just start breaking things down into small, daily intentions. You realize the weight hasn't magically disappeared, but you have grown strong enough to carry it. If you're currently in the thick of this pressure, hear this: you are not late. Your specific timeline, with all of its detours, its delays, and its quiet waiting rooms, is exactly where you were meant to be. Society celebrates speed, but real life, that requires endurance.
And you are definitely not lost. Even when you're wandering through total confusion, even when the syllabus makes absolutely no sense, even when the admission portal still says, "not yet." No honest effort is ever wasted. No painful waiting season is ever meaningless. The foundations you build in the dark are going to hold up whatever comes next.
You are becoming. It's not about perfection, and it's certainly not about immediate arrival. It's a slow, messy, totally beautiful unfolding of your identity. It is the radiant resilience it takes to wake up and keep trying, keep studying, and keep hoping, even when the future is completely unknown.
So I want to leave you with one final provocative thought to chew on. If success is not just what you achieve, the degree, the title, the letter, who are you becoming while you wait? Because that person, forged in the quiet spaces of delay and pressure, is without a doubt the greatest achievement of all. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep going.